Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
How you doing today?
I'm really great, Howie. I'm here at the playground of all places and getting some inspiration and looking forward to tonight's podcast.
Yeah, you've got like a location of the week going on. I love it. That's great. I got to move mine around.
Yeah, I got to get out to get more inspiration from time to time, pretty much every day. So this is today's inspiration.
I love it. Well, your podcast background is more interesting than mine, and I am going to, once I get a job, I'm going to buy, I found this really cool display case. I'm going to try to get my wife to help me rearrange it behind and have some more inspirational. I'm not going to say it's going to compete with Gary Vee's background or some of these people. But yeah, I'm going to try to, I probably won't match your outdoor scenery, but I'll try to do a little bit better on my background too. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. This is week 3 of Building During Difficulty, and we know we're going to do one more week after this, but this one is about planning. So making your plan. And then it also ends with a little bit of mental health around planning. So I'm going to kick it off with the very first point, which is something that I heard from Jordan B. Peterson. You guys have heard me talk about him 3 or 4 times. Basically, what Jordan B. Peterson is, he's a Toronto, Canada professor of psychology, and he's done a lot of clinical psychology in his career and a lot of other types of sort of academic work. And then he wrote a book called 12 Rules for Life. One of the things that he recommends is that, and he recommends this to his college students as well, is when they're trying to figure out how to start a paper or a research project or something difficult, they're kind of paralyzed. I don't know if you guys have ever been paralyzed by a big project. I have continually. It's one of my big problems is that I do struggle with if I'm not sure where to start, then I don't start. It's a big problem. And so what Jordan B. Peterson says about that problem is start by making a very quick plan. Just make an ugly plan. So he tells his students, he kind of uses some graphical language, and he says, if I put a gun to your head and I said by next week you have to have, a 5-page paper written, and I don't care how bad it is, you could do it. And so he says, act like that, like create whatever your business plan is or whatever if you guys are watching this and you are in college, just do your draft, make it terrible. And so the same thing goes for business as well, is that actually Beastmode and I were talking in the show prep too about just the concept of us iterating and planning and all of that. And, it just helps even us to create a quick plan and to kind of get started. So anyway, my first advice to you guys is advice that I'm taking, by the way, in my own life right now. I'm working on a side hustle while I'm working on the job search, and I'm a little paralyzed by the side hustle right now. My idea, I'll just tell you what the idea is. It's around cybersecurity, and I'm trying to develop a mostly autonomous business where it's mostly, working by itself. And I'll set it up initially and I'll monitor it, but that's the idea. And so I've got some of the framework as part of that, but I don't have it in a plan. And so I'm paralyzed by that. And I also have funding issues, of course, being unemployed right now. But I do have a path to figure that one out. But, I just need to take the same advice and sit down and make an ugly plan so at least I have some place to start. And I know you had some comments that were complimentary that kind of waterfall down from that, Beastmode, as far as making an ugly plan. You have another one.
Yeah, I mean, another great example is today. We were doing our show prep, and we were just having a quick conversation, and it's really, and it happens every week. And I'll say part of it comes back to making an ugly plan. Part of it comes back as and again, we're faith based. We say a quick prayer, and whatever comes to mind is what we start with, and then we normally just extrapolate off of that. But it's that willingness, that vulnerability. To just put that idea out there, to put it down, and to give yourself freedom to make a mistake, but then your freedom to edit. There's a lot of power in being able to put that idea down and then just add on to it or scrap it and say, well, you know, that was bad, but now I know I'm not doing that. Just breaking that ice is huge.
So good. And you had a specific example too. So starting simple is kind of what we talked about with, making an ugly plan and, the actual starting process. And we do actually say a prayer every week because we hope that we inspire you guys in your business and in your career, whether it be business strategy, execution, feedback, collaboration, all those topics that we typically gravitate around. And prayer is a great way to open, to have great insights head your way. So definitely give it a shot. But you had a really cool story actually that I think you wanted to cover about how to plan, where to start, and some of those things.
Yeah. And so just like we were kind of talking about, it's starting simple. And we think I think, and I think you agree that starting simple is a derivative of an ugly plan. It's just, okay, just put something down, anything down, put a couple of bullet points, maybe put some sentences behind it or some verbal comments or something, but just get going with your ugly plan. But then, I also thought about starting simple, and we actually talked about starting simple, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever we talked about problem solving. I don't need to figure out a new problem. There are plenty of problems that are already here. And it's, why don't I start with a problem that I experience every day, or a problem that, I had to overcome with a previous business that maybe I have specific insights for. But the example was George Washington Carver, and he lived in the early 1900s. And, he was a great inventor and a scientist. And I think he's credited with 300 plus inventions or patents and things like that. But he started, and he really enjoyed plants. And so he's actually spoke about how, and he's known as the Peanut Man, right? Because of all the work that he did with peanuts. And from what, I did some research on it, and everybody thinks he made peanut butter, but he didn't. But peanut butter came from his works. But he started out and he was a faith-based guy. He started out by asking God, why did you make it peanut? And it's just and it just so resonated with me about how simple the thought is, and again, if you're not faith-based, whatever you're in, it's you're just find the most simple, basic version of the problem or what you're wanting to make a solution for, and just go to the most basic version of it and start there, and then just stack on top of it insights or wisdom, or as you do research, and just let it go from there. But I know a lot of times we want to start in the middle, and so.
Yeah, he's an African-American hero. And I'm really glad you brought his story up. I really need to find an autobiography because I've thought about this. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time I thought about it. I don't have a lot of time to read, and I have a book queue that I'm already working through. But man, I love him, and he's so inspiring to me, and I'm just so proud of him as well. So that's really cool. So faith-based guy, African-American guy, certainly not during a great time to be a black man in the United States. And what a leader, what an inventor, and what a leader. That's very special.
And you talk about building during difficulty.
Wow, good point.
This is the early 1920s, and he's trying to invent and have a voice and to do all this. And unfortunately, a lot of what the barriers that he broke down, we're still fighting for, and but he persevered, and he started real simple.
He's a hero.
Truly.
What a hero. Love him. He we have, we still have a ways to go, but, he had it way worse and broke down walls with innovation, and, it all started with that simple, plan. So make an ugly plan, start simple. Literally guys, listen, we're spitting to you guys what we're dealing with every week in our businesses. We've both been very open to you guys about our CRM journey. We've both been, adopting HubSpot and figuring that out. Starting with an ugly instance. Beastmode and I are going to have to continue to make evolutionary changes to that to make it better for us. I think it's working well, but I mean, I know actually Beastmode, you got a lead out of your process recently, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten several leads actually.
Have you now? Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Good.
probably 30 or 40, which
Oh, I didn't
is
know that.
tremendous.
Wow. Good.
Yeah, and I mean some are different stages of
Yeah.
qualifying as a lead, but
But you know what? You did it. You
no, it's
started
great, and
simple.
it
It was
was
ugly and it
simple.
was painful. Yeah, but you start, but you know what?
Yeah,
And you didn't even want to do it, but you did it and you made, and Jordan B. Peterson talks about that. He said, some things that we do out of our passion, some of them we do out of responsibility. And so you did that one out of your responsibility. Now it's becoming more of a passion, because you're able to sort of understand how the technology can help you really focus on what you love to do, which is serving customers to build their brand and build their leads and building their social. So that's awesome. So congratulations. I didn't realize it was that good. So we'll be
yeah,
talking offline because I'm just a nerd and I want to hear all about it.
yeah.
But good job. Yeah. So the next one is, we talked a little bit about, so there's a proverb that is in, actually I looked it up. It's Proverbs 20:18. It says, plans are established by counsel, by wise counsel wage war. That's the New King James Version. And it's not a particularly evangelistic thing. It's really more of a business or a military verse. But it talks about if you're going to wage war, or if you're going to go into business, or if you're going to be an entrepreneur, or if you're going to grow through marketing and through sales, or whatever you're going to do, or if you're a product manager and you want to grow your product set and advance your product solutions, our advice to you guys is that, as you're making your plan, seek advice. And I know you guys are going to roll your eyes and you're going to say, guys, you're talking about feedback again. And you know what? Guilty, because feedback is really part of our DNA. I want to give you a cool story. I haven't told Beastmode this yet because I forgot during our prep. But I got a call. So as you guys know, I'm on the journey for the job and it's making some good progress. So, fingers crossed, maybe in the next 2 weeks I'll have an offer, hopefully. It's just a guess. I don't know. But I found this site called The Ladders, which is a great little job hunting site. And I registered, and they have a version of that for $29 for 1 month. They have some automation. And it's a brand new feature. And what they will do is they will apply for you. It's a one-click thing. So you kind of have to fill out a very advanced online profile with, everything, basically it's so that they can go then fill that out for you on websites. And it looks to me, because I filled out last Thursday, I think it might have been like Wednesday through Thursday, probably about 5 or 6 hours. I applied for 79 jobs.
Wow.
And I'm applying for jobs like I seriously applied. Now I'm a technical guy, but I actually applied for a VP of janitorial for Janny King because I was like, you know what? I'm mildly interested in that because of my germ sweep experiment a few months ago. So, okay, that might be interesting. And at least it's worth the conversation, right? So anyway, but I applied for things that were even outside of my wheelhouse like that, but 79 jobs in maybe 4 hours, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And it's because I filled out all their form and then I paid the fee. And then they have people, I found this out. They have people who are going to the careers site and doing that for you. I don't know if it's overseas or how they're doing that with their cost structure. I don't know. Yeah. And some of it might be with computer automation, who knows. But check this out. So we talk about so the verse that I gave you guys says, if you wage war, seek advice. And this third bullet point for today is seek advice and have a sounding board. And so the story is that the Ladders called me today and I knew they were trying to sell me something. They weren't. It was customer service. I could not believe it. Who just wanted to see how it's going. They said, hey, yeah, you're one of our more active users for our new feature for the apply for me button. Which is like guilty. I mean, 79 in a few hours. That's pretty busy. And leave it to me. By the way, that's my personality. I kind of do everything to the nines, good or bad sometimes. And but they're like, yeah, you're one of our more active users. So we just want to get from a product management standpoint, find out how you liked it and what you think. And it was so great because they're doing what we're talking about right now, which is as they're doing product development, product management. They're seeking advice from who? From the users. And why not somebody who applied for 79 with that feature? I have an opinion. You know what I mean? My opinion was mostly complimentary. But what's great about that is that I have a connection now. I probably will be posting on Facebook complimenting them for this. sorry, not Facebook, LinkedIn, because I'm very proud of them. And it's a Howie and Beastmode core value of seeking feedback from customers. And so I know I take too much time, we're running short of time. But yeah, seek advice, have a sounding board, ask for feedback like we talk about every third week. And it's true, but look at what it did for me. You guys can sense the energy and the animation that I have as a customer, how proud I am of them and how much I want to help them. And I want to be evangelistic for them about posting on LinkedIn because of my wonderful experience. So having that sounding board and seeking that advice, like we're talking about as part of your planning and building your plan process, that actually creates connection as well. So I'm going to leave the last point to you. So what are we talking about here? So what's the downside if we don't seek that connection, if we don't seek that advice?
Yeah, if you don't have the sounding board, and whether the sounding board is just a receiver who's just listening to what you're sharing and letting the thought really just extrapolate itself, or if it's somebody who's listening and providing feedback like Howie was talking about. If you don't have that, then you're isolating yourself. And isolation is not I'm going to go hide in a cave or I'm going to go lock myself in a closet. It could be I'm just not sharing info and I'm not getting any feedback, or I'm not I don't have any communication about the direction of what I'm doing. That's an isolation on that topic or on that business plan or on that endeavor, and it's just not a good place to be. And so we just encourage you not to do that. And I know that we're going to delve more into probably both of those last 2 points, having a sounding board, seeking advice, and don't isolating ourselves next week when we talk about partnerships. And I know Howie's going to dive deep into all those topics, but we're going to wrap up. And so Howie, why don't you let everybody know where they can find us? And
awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot. So you can find us on my favorite platform, Spotify for podcasts, also Apple Podcasts, the new platform over there on Amazon with their podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And on YouTube is where we actually answer comments. So if you watch us on YouTube and you comment there, we will answer 100% of those every time. But thanks so much for joining the Howie and Beastmode podcast. And Beastmode, thanks for hanging out.
Hey, Howie, it's always a pleasure, my friend.